So, the start of my laser build. This is going to be a approximately 1200 by approximately 700 cutting area CO2 laser, and I'm not doing it in the way most people do it, using aluminium extrusion. I'm using steel because I'm cheap and it's cheaper, and I have the resources to be able to do that. So just to give a quick overview of my workshop, which is a horrible mess, so please forgive me, but that's the way I work, and as much as I'd like to not work like that, that is how I work. So this is the workshop. So you can see my Unimig Viper 185, which I'm using as a scratch TIG to do my welds, and I will not be showing my welds, which is a bad thing to do on YouTube apparently, and the quality of my welds would be really bad. Up on the wall there we got the entertainment. So I've got a sandblast cabinet there, which is homemade but larger than you can economically buy, so I made one myself. The oven there is actually for powder coating. I've got a powder coating system. You can see there the table saw, so woodwork, and there's the dog, most important. I also have a large bandsaw and a wood router, CNC router. This router I built more than 10 years ago now, quite a bit more than 10 years in actual fact, and it's gone through various iterations, but this machine is very accurate. I've built other ones in metal and have subsequently sold that and gone back to a wooden design, which you can see here. It's not uncommon in the design, but it's proven to be extremely reliable. I have a handbrake. All the fingers are there, just some gaps at the moment. And most important for this build really is I have a large scale CNC plasma cutter, which is capable of cutting up to 16mm at a push, but generally speaking I only cut thinner steel, but probably most of this will be up to 3mm in thickness. The cover for the CO2 laser I imagine to be around about 1mm, 1.1mm. That's a very useful tool. I'll show that in use later on. In my other workshop, which is just a short walk down the garden, got a few things with a lathe there. That's a 300mm swing lathe and a mill. I'm landed leaning against it at the moment. That's a mill with a DRO. I've got my little, again, stuff on top of it. I've got my little 3D printer there, and I also have a diode laser, which is useful. Diode lasers are okay, but the main reason for the CO2 is I want it to be able to cut acrylic, and these things can't really cut anything but black acrylic. Also, I want something that's fully enclosed. I could make an enclosure just for the diode, but it still doesn't really perform the way I want it to, so a CO2 laser it will be. And we've got the press there, that's a 20-ton press. That's about it really. But anyway, between all that, I think we can get the job done. So the laser that I've designed is still very much in the design stage. This is really dependent on the parts that I can get. I've ordered quite a few things from China and came up against the Chinese New Year, which has delayed things by weeks. Just my luck. But I have got a few things already, and I'm starting to work on the design. I've gone for a 100 watt, 90 to 100 watt CO2 tube, which you can see drawn there, and a mirror set has arrived, as have the linear rails. And although I said I'm not going to use aluminium extrusion, I'm going to use aluminium extrusion for the main axis, simply because it's easier to bolt to and make later adjustments. I feel like I've copped out a bit there, but
That's what I've decided to do. It's easier. Yeah, so you can see there it's got a Z-axis. The Z-axis will be, that's not pictured, but it will be driven by a stepper motor. I think with a continuous belt, it depends whether I can get one big enough really, otherwise I might have to go with a smaller belt and possibly drive it with two NEMA 17 steppers, but I'm not sure at this time. But that's the design. I've also received the CO2 laser power supply, not drawn here. Weirdly, I ordered the CO2 laser and tube and the power supply from Amazon, which was a good process, but the power supply was shipped from Melbourne to where I live in Queensland, and the CO2 tube was shipped from China to where I live in Queensland, and they both arrived on the same day by different shipping methods. So I guess that's the vagaries of ordering things from China, but it seemed to be slower from Melbourne in this instance, although I've had things take 3 months to arrive from China. I just hope that some of the components I've ordered don't take that long, because this would be very dragged out. Thought I'd just show the crate that the laser tube came in. Impressive. Yeah, that crate's about 1.5 meters long, which is no wonder that the shipping was so expensive from China. But I don't know what I expected, but it's impressive. I'm not going to open it again. I have opened it and checked it, and it's in one piece, but you've got a cardboard box inside that, and then the tube is inside the cardboard box and surrounded by very soft foam. So yeah, all credit to them, really. Yeah, follow me, and that'll encourage me to post regular updates on making this machine gradually. I think it's evident that I'm new to YouTube, and I think liking and subscribing would be a good thing to do for me, just purely so I have the motivation to carry on and do the videos, because as I think anybody who's tried this realizes, it takes so much longer to make anything if you're going to video it than it does to just do it. But there we go. Thank you very much. Later.